Yeah, I will. Pastor Scott said it. It's exactly what I'm going to tell you about is God's grace that was shown in my life. And when I start at the beginning, you'll see that it was nothing that I did or had to offer. It was God and Jesus alone. I grew up not far from here in Levittown. I went to Catholic school. Good family. My mom had a good job. My dad was a pilot for a major airline. We got to travel a lot, see the world, go a lot of cool places. I was a real hyper kid. I raced bikes. With that, I got to travel all over the country too, and got some #1 titles. Was in a couple magazines, couple videos, so that was cool. And I guess towards the end of grade school, some guys started coming around where I, was riding my bike at and started introducing us to pot. So I started smoking weed. I wasn't that into it at the time, and got to high school, and that escalated because I guess, everybody else was doing it, all the cool kids as well. So I wasn't riding my bike anymore in high school, and just about every day of the week, you could ask me what I was doing senior year, and I would tell you I was getting wasted. No matter what day of the week, I was getting wasted. Got into selling drugs and just continued down that path until senior year. Was basically one big Xanax, which is a tranquilizer drug which just makes you forget everything. So I don't have much memory of my senior year. Dances, parties, hanging out with this person, doing that, I don't really remember any of it. Getting my driver's license, I don't remember any of it. So I left high school, and the only thing that kept my head a little bit above water was a girlfriend that I had who had, goals and ambitions, I guess, to live a normal life, which, I wasn't there yet. I was still partying and acting like a nut, taking drugs, and this got me real good at lying and manipulating and doing everything I had to do to hide my second life. So, I continued that path and finally tried college. I was out in the woods every class smoking weed. I didn't really go to class. I wasn't good at school. So I stopped going there. I took a ride down the airport one day, and I went to aviation maintenance school. Started doing that. I was always good with my hands. So between that and going right to work afterwards, it was real tough, long days. So Percocets came in every day, all day, to get me through them long days. And, just working like a nut finally. Finished that, got a good job down the airport working for a major airline, and just continued with the drugs, Oxycontin, Xanax, smoking weed every day, hiding all this. And, I got engaged. I had a really good job. Things were going real well. I thought that's right about the time my dad's drinking, and his vicious love for alcohol really outbroke. And we lost our house in Levittown, lost everything. Very successful landscaping business. My mom left him after 33 years, so everything down to the dogs was pretty much gone and split up. After that, I kind of, I didn't care about hiding it as much anymore, and I was doing probably $200 to $300 worth of the, Oxycontin pills a day, which was a lot. And when I didn't have them, I was real sick. So I did whatever I had to do to get them. And getting in trouble, messing up, didn't care about anything. I got a DUI. I had to resign from my job at the airport. A wedding that was paid for was canceled. So after that, I even spiraled more and was working restaurant jobs, things like that, just to pay for the next one. Paid $600 on a Friday, and Monday comes along at work and I can't even buy a slice of pizza because I don't even have $1. So I continued that route for a while, and one day down North Philadelphia, the Kensington section, $50 pill took too long to wait for, and a bag of heroin was introduced, and it took a little while, a little more sickness, a little more chills, a little more anxiousness, but the guys I was with had done it before, and they assured me that it would be fine and I wouldn't be sick anymore. So that was the beginning of that. Every day after that, I was in North Philadelphia, which Pittsburgh is where I'm at right now, located. And the only way I can describe it to these people, because they're I don't know, their city, I wouldn't compare it to ours, so I have to compare it to war-torn Somalia when I tell them what it looks like down there and the dangers and the things I've seen, the girls that I've known that went down there and have never come back, guys that are dead. So I did that for a while. I robbed my mom for everything she had, maxed out every credit card, and the shame was just bad enough until the next morning, until I needed another one, waking up with that sickness, you know. The worst flu in the world times 1,000 every day, and I did everything I had to do to get that money to cross that bridge right there and get the next one. Getting shot at, stealing whatever. I could see the years flying out of my mom's life from robbing her and breaking her heart every day. And secular rehab, I felt real good. Got my weight up, eating well, reading a little bit of the NA book. I was ready for life. NA, get a job, get a girl, all that good stuff. The blessings of sobriety. The job sucked. College didn't start. And out of rehab, I lasted 2 hours. And I was calling Trenton. So did that, some jail time for a DUI. I did drugs every single day in jail. And my only plan in jail was to come out and just do Suboxone. That was my only plan. But yeah, running barrels of concrete all week, your back's kind of sore. That $10 pill of Suboxone ain't going to cut it. So that lasted about 5 days out of another rehab. Excuse me. And just continued down that path. So I didn't have many choices after that. My mom told me about faith-based rehab in New Jersey that my father had went to, that I had visited him at and eaten Christmas and whatever turkey dinners there, visiting him in rehab. So I signed up for it basically to get her off my back. And, you know, an addict always wants to get well, but he, you know, desires and wants that drug even more. He loves it, as I did. So I paid for that. I waited on the waiting list. Probation told me I couldn't go. That door was closed. It was opened to a faith-based drug and alcohol program out in Pittsburgh. God providentially opened and closed doors like I'm not going to get into tonight, but between physicals and blood work and money and this church's support and help and the pastors at my door encouraging me to get help. And I was off to Pittsburgh. And my mom had brought me a couple times here, and I remember Pastor Scott would be standing here, and I was right there, high on heroin, dipping out, trying to keep my eyes open just to, but, you know, you're paranoid, you know everybody knows. So, you know, I was trying the church thing. Like I said, I was raised Catholic, so born again Christians. We were having a discussion about this last week. I thought they were crazy. I thought it was fake. I thought it was a crutch. I thought it was for drunks who couldn't help themselves. But, yeah, I couldn't help myself either at all. I tried a long time, and I couldn't stand anymore. So out there, coming off of heroin, fentanyl, Xanax, weed for 15 years, cigarettes, I quit at the door. It wasn't a good idea. I went into detox very fast. I was up 216 hours. They were going to put me out my 10th day and still put me in a detox. I was blind in one eye. My eyes were crossing. I was in class, going to churches, thinking people thought I was crazy, covering one eye. The lights, the insomnia, I don't know what it was, but it was something. So I was broken, physically and mentally, definitely. Up at night, screaming, shaking. I was practicing seizures in my bed so I could go get the guy next door to tell the guy, staff, that they saw me have a seizure in the bathroom, and I was going to crack my head open on the bathroom floor so I could go to the hospital, get meds. I was going to jump out the window and break my leg. All them nights, I was up, and I went down to the basement chapel, and I tried this thing out, and I called out to the God that these people were telling me about, that I was beginning to read about in scriptures, that my mom was sending me up scriptures, that I was seeking out and calling out to God. God, if you're real, I need your help. I can't do this anymore. It was terrible. I'm getting chills telling you, because it was a bad time in my life, but it brought me to my knees, which was, what was supposed to happen. Things started to get better. They did. The sickness got better. These scriptures were working in me. I could feel them. I know this is about the Holy Spirit tonight, so the conviction that I had to battle this sin into my life, like all of my old habits would come up of thinking of stealing this pen or this something stupid, and the conviction would ruin my day. And I didn't know where it came from. My desires were different. I felt different. I felt loved. I felt accepted. And I felt God's grace in my life. Even Titus 2:11 is one of my favorite scriptures, that grace that we don't always unpack from the Holy Spirit. We think it's just the grace that saves you, but it's teaches you to say no to ungodliness and trains you up in righteousness. It really works inside of you. And I felt this working. I would lay down for a nap, I remember some days, and jump out of bed with joy to call a cousin and tell him my story and what was going on, to write this church, who basically paved my way to get to Teen Challenge with the financial side, which was amazing. So I called out to God, and he showed up big time. I don't know what else to say. That's my story of redemption. And I have a true life story about last night that I guess I'll end it with that. Going into McDonald's, I seen a girl that me and him went to school with our whole lives. Good girl, works at a hospital, kids, good family, all that stuff, Catholic school. She stopped me. She said, "Are you clean?" "Yeah, I'm clean." And she said, "How long?" I said, 1.5 years. She said, "It looks great. I'm going to die. I'm on a waiting list for Eagleville rehab. I have no hope. I don't know what to do." And I started telling her about my story and told her what I had done when I came home. That me and my friend, he's a friend who partied just as much as the rest of us. He's a doctor now. He's a neurologist. I said, we went to visit this friend of mine. She knows what he's like, his past of jail 3 times, drugs, grew up in a home full of drugs. And she looked at me scared, and she said, "Really? Are you that strong? Were you strong enough to go see him?" Like thinking that the foundation of my sobriety, and which she doesn't even know, salvation is built on NA and things of that matter, and not like, I guess Pepe's going to speak about tonight, the Holy Spirit. That's why she asked me that. It hit me later that night that without God, there's no hope. I had no hope. I told you what I thought. I told you how God redeemed my life and where he's brought me today. And now I'm out in Pittsburgh. It's what they call in the program an internship. So I'm doing that, helping some guys like me. And God is beginning to open up doors. And I'm just excited to be able to walk through them and to be able to have a relationship with Christ today. And thank you for God's grace, because apart from it, I'm still dead out there in the world, crossing that bridge, sitting there to appease my mom for the week for whatever I did to her that was awful. So thank you so much for letting me speak tonight. This is awesome. Thank you.